Good afternoon.
Fancy seeing you here.
Well, just bob down here for a light shop, because why we're here for a light shop, Mike? This used to be Burnden Park.
It did.
The world famous Burnden Park. Now, there's so much about Burnden Park. Please excuse me for thinking I'm that Mike fella off BBC Breakfast who does the sport, who sits there with his iPad. Perfectly allowed. I've seen Laura Woods do it as well, so I can do that.
She can do anything.
Well, yeah. So,
I think we should just touch on the fact that we've actually upgraded. We have upgraded. There will be no more sound problems.
I could even whisper.
We've upgraded.
Yeah.
But I'm holding mine.
Part 3, yeah, he's holding his, because you may notice he normally likes to leave it on his jacket so it clanks a bit. Maybe have a zip there. Lots of standing with his hands in his pockets and shuffling, so you just felt it was best to get a decent mics, didn't you, Mike?
Well, you thought it'd be best to have a dig straight off the bat, but carry on.
Me mic sounds nice. Right, okay, so part 3. God, how long's that taken us? So Mike is going to come in with a few of the facts, because obviously it is your former home ground.
It is.
Before we get into that, I had a lovely day myself yesterday, Michael.
You were at the game, I didn't go. I couldn't go.
1877 suite, courtesy of Matthew Brown.
Unfortunately, it's playoffs, but
there's still everything to play for.
I think we'll win them. I think we'll do it, but we'll see.
You've got one game left. You've got a game left. What's up with you?
Well, I think there needs to be a swing of about 6 goals.
No, I can't hear a fat lady singing. So, yes. Anyhow, what we're here for, I'll just set my phone up. Feel free, Mike.
So, as Simon said, doesn't look that much like a football ground, does it? But this is where I started my football life, 1986. First game was Chesterfield at home, 3-2 victory, and set me off.
It was good. Why wouldn't that?
Well, I know. It wasn't the most glamorous of football ties, but I saw 5 goals and a Bolton win, and I was off.
Food for the gods, that.
That was in. That was me.
So anyhow, I was just going to say, this ground is, what was this ground? Was one of the first actual grounds to be made from profit share. £4,000 it cost to build Burnden Park. I'm looking over there, there's a 65 plate BMW, you couldn't even buy that for it. How times change, money.
Just a touch, just a touch.
First game was against is a little, a friendly you'd call it. I don't know whether it'd be a friendly now, but Preston North End entertained Bolton Wanderers, which I believe you lost.
Sounds perfectly plausible. Well, 1895 was obviously we'd done the other grounds. That was the first game here, and we stayed here for 102 years, finishing off with a victory over Charlton Athletic in a championship winning side 1997. Now,
your first league game, I believe, was, and there is a bit of irony here for the Wanderers fans, obviously all knowing your history, was against Everton. Contentious for your first.
She's ironic, really, because
first season up at Reebok was a contentious Everton game.
Yeah, which was 0-0.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about that season much. So let's talk about some more stats, because obviously it was being used as for FA Cup, early FA Cup round games. The largest attendance, I couldn't believe this, Mike, 1930s. You reckon you could get 70,000 on here?
Yeah, it was, which is amazing, really, because obviously when I first came, it was, well, they were still standing back then. It was Burnden Terrace, and the embankment for the away end was standing, but 25,000 was.
Unless you nipped into Normid by the end.
Saved us then, though, didn't they? The Normid Superstore, and then towards the end last season we had the little seated area in front of Normid for the away fans who wanted to sit down.
I've got a belting story about that. My dad, not a massive football fan, I will be honest, he nipped into the Normid to buy a washing machine in his I won't elaborate too much. In his Guru Josh years, he tells me that the 90s failed him, even though Guru Josh told him it was going to be good. He was getting divorced, so he had to go and buy himself a washing machine. And while he's buying himself a washing machine in Normid, he kept hearing the ball bounce off the roof and everything. It's like, that's proper, that's grassroots.
Must have been the away team heading towards Normid. We don't think I ever saw us hit.
It was probably fans banging on the things, possibly, to be honest.
Yeah. So stats-wise, there's a lot to cover, really. Obviously, the biggest one, which a lot of people because obviously there's a lot of very important, not important, that's the wrong word, very high-profile disasters in football, aren't there?
Yeah.
Hillsborough, the Bradford Fire, Heysel, but in 1946 we were playing Stoke City in what was a second leg FA Cup quarter-final. and back in the days where the turnstile was just pay on the door, they shut the turnstile with about 20 minutes to go before kick-off because people were they couldn't get any more in. But
the big draw that day was Stanley Matthews, though,
yeah,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously Stoke City with their famous Stanley Matthews was here for that, and you can see what a draw that'd be. One of the biggest names in football.
Yeah. And then, unfortunately, 33 people lost their lives. My grandpa was actually at the game and involved in the crush. Fortunately, he was okay. But I was telling Simon before that the amazing thing is that probably doesn't really get touched on is because different time back then. When the game kicked off, the police came on the pitch to tell the referee there'd been a fatality. He brought the teams off, and then the people who died were laid down the side on the touchline, covered in coats, and they put a sawdust makeshift touchline in front of the dead.
It's mad,
so
isn't
the
it?
players didn't go near them, and they brought the players back on and kicked off. Second half, when the second half kicked off, they didn't go off and have 15 minutes. They just switched ends and carried on playing.
I mean, the crazy thing there is, all right, it's 1946, and we've obviously just come out of a 5-year conflict, and people have probably seen death all over, if not all over Europe and the world, even domestically. But still, that's a big thing to.
I mean, just for any player to be,
crazy.
no matter what year it is, to be running down the wing and running past.
Different
what
times,
I can imagine
man.
whether it was full 33, I don't know, but running past dead bodies, it's.
Well, it's as you say, Mike. It's funny. Everyone, it's well documented. Hillsborough, the Bradford disaster, etc. It's not that well documented. The Bolton.
No, it's not really.
Obviously, Bolton Wanderers fans know it, and the town of Bolton does. Everyone knows it growing up here. But I don't think that's. I think if you say FA Cup and Bolton, they all think of a white horse, don't they?
Yeah, or certainly for me, the 90s runs where we beat, Liverpool, Arsenal, Villa,
Arsenal Wenger.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't cost you that much. You only lost Bruce Rioch to him, didn't you?
That's a touchy subject still to this day.
Well, it didn't do Bruce any good, so who's laughing? I shouldn't say that.
30 years later, it still hurts.
Remain impartial.
I'm fortunate enough to have been in every single stand. Because in the final game against Charlton, they actually let us have the embankment, the away end, Bolton fans, so they could go in and be in there. And that was where I was for the final game. But there's so many great players who've played here. I've seen Georgie Hadji play when it was the Anglo-Italian Cup. Ruud Gullit came with Chelsea. Eric Cantona with Man United. A young David Beckham. I do seem to remember getting beat 6-0 in the 95-96 Premiership. And the devastation, it was on a Sunday, of having to go into school the next day.
Was a certain Welsh wizard to blame for that as well?
It was, crying out loud, even Nicky Butt scored, so.
What's up with that?
Wasn't known for his goal-scoring prowess, was he?
Listen, you'd have had him any
young
day.
David Beckham, yeah, I've seen some bad times here, obviously nearly going under, which unfortunately then nearly happened again to the Wanderers recently. Normid saving us, as I said. Some great managers, Bruce Rioch, Colin Todd, Phil Neal. Some not so good managers, Ron McFarland, who was part of a duo. They appointed him and Colin Todd as a duo managerial team. What,
was one sort of like the singer and the other on the Bon Tempi?
Yeah. Colin Todd was on the bass.
Boogie harpsichord.
Colin Todd was on the bass.
Slide bass, obviously.
So I also remember, I've said to Simon before, the club shop was just basically, it looked like someone's front room.
You don't even know this. I'm going to come back to, obviously at that time I'm living in Stockport, and my pal Mick McCarthy, his family are all from Bolton, a bit mysteriously. His dad worked with my dad, that's where we're friends anyhow. Mick and I used to get the Translanx Express bus, which was about 12p from Stockport to Bolton. It was ace. We would actually get on it and buy a pound of garden peas and throw the pea pods out the window.
You've told me that.
That was part of the fun. But one of the trips was for Mick to come all the way to Burnden Park. He wanted a Bolton Wanderers rosette in the 80s. To me, that's like the 20s you'd have bought one of them. But
it's all more of a Wembley thing, isn't it? I remember everyone for Wembley in the 80s.
All the way here. It used to take about a couple of hours. It'd go around through Royton, Oldham and stuff like that. It was a great ride. But, it was crestfallen. They didn't have any.
Oh, all that way?
All the way back.
Rosette.
Well, I think the worst bit is all the way back with me.
Well,
telling him how they didn't have a rosette. Yeah.
So I remember going into the Burnden shop once, and I must have only been about 14 or 15, and a United fan came in with a United shirt, and it certainly wasn't as professional as you would do in a club shop nowadays. You know, it was just like just any old bloke just stood behind the counter serving, putting names and numbers on shirts.
You've not told me this, but I know what you're going to tell me. Please,
he said,
don't.
Could you print this for me? And he went, what do you want? McAteer on it? We wish. Piss off. I was stood behind him going. Just basically got him out the shop. Very funny.
I tell you what, if that fella ever does manage to see this, please, from me, why? But see, always lovely. Well, maybe we're famous, kid.
Possibly, or maybe they're just going, we'll just ruin their shop. Anyway, never mind.
Can't ruin us. So yeah, I was just going to say, so other little bits, I've got loads on this. There's absolutely loads, but one thing that I find particularly interesting is the highest attendance league record is against Manchester City. And I'm just going
Can't be many Man City fans coming to that.
Well, there must have been. Well, it's not that far away, is it? Oh, look, a load of scoots. What was it? It was some crazy, 1933, 69,912 on there. That's mad. What else have we got on here?
I've got a good start. Not that this has been recorded. I've got a great story of when my dad rung me from the office on a Saturday and said, right, son, which game do you want to go to? We can go to Manchester City versus Huddersfield at Main Road, or Bolton Wanderers against Leyton Orient. I went, well, Bolton Wanderers, surely. Bolton won 1-0. I mean, my hero at the time, John Thomas. Man City won 10-0. Never let me forget that. He never let me forget it. We could have seen 10 goals. He said, we sat here watching one goal.
You just watch one match of the day.
Wanderers.
Yeah, you just go support your sport.
Wanderers.
Wow, that must have been a bit of a different city in that days. However, so yeah, bit of culture, bit of subculture around here. Obviously, Ellis Lowry, just down the road, on the border of Salford as we are here, whether we like it or not, certain people. The famous scene of the Lowry painting. Now, I didn't know until this. Obviously, the Lowry painting, which is more towards Bridgeport, is called Going to the Match, isn't it? I didn't know the Football Association, the Professional Football Association, paid £1.9 million to retain that picture from going abroad.
Wow.
Go back to £4,000. How many football grounds could you build with 1.9? Get your calculator out there, kid.
That quickly.
Yeah, but that's and the other one, Kind of Loving, famous kitchen sink play. Set off all sorts of genre from the 60s, which obviously you know that I quite dig. On the Embankment, 1962.
Wow, okay.
Now then, my Uncle Tony, commonly known as Mystic T, swore blind that he was in the background of that. Now, it used to amuse me and my dad, that, because I don't think my Uncle Tony was even bothered about football. So why would he be there? But he did swear blind. He was this kind of like cat in these black Ray-Ban looking things, not these ones, and a sheepskin. And I thought, how ahead of his time, 1962, stood on the Embankment in a sheepskin.
Did John Motson get his inspiration from Mystic T, or vice versa?
Well, I'm thinking early 80s, where lads used to stand on embankments with sheepskins, maybe a nice pair of classic Adidas or something. Your lowest jeans, you know what I mean? However,
I think we're getting away from Burnden Park.
just style, Mike.
When the ground closed, very similar to what the Wanderers do now, is they allowed people to play on the pitch. Luckily, I was one of them.
Did you have a kick on Burnden?
Yeah, it was 250 quid a team. Compared to now, it's about £3,000.
Yeah.
I didn't score, nearly did. I was running through, and I started to feel both my calves cramp up. Now, thinking back, I should have just hit it as hard as I could and dealt with the cramp later. But I ate a really timid shock, because I thought, I can't get cramp, it's the worst pain going. So I regret that, straight at the keeper.
I love your stories of football, and I love the fact it's never about the goals that you did score, it's more about the goals that you didn't. That you're sort of like, cut a long story short, I don't want to see the long version, mate.
Well, if I was to tell you about the goals I scored, we'd be here for about 4 hours. Think on. Anyway, so... yeah.
All right, okay.
Probably more, I don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, they did allow the fans to play on the pitch. I do know that I'm pretty sure the 7-a-side pitch is still going.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's still there.
Many a summer school there playing football. It's a shame what's happened to it. Obviously, you know, as we said before on the last episode about the plaques, I appreciate people know this has been Burnden Park, and it's still called Burnden, the area. You got Burnden Park Pie Shop, you got Burnden Tech there. There's still a lot of reference to the area being Burnden.
I think to put it in context, we've obviously covered the Hulton Lane, Dick Cockles Field, Overdale. That's like 100 odd years ago. I can't see it slipping somehow, because football is not going away. But will it be remembered in 100 odd years as Burnden Park?
I don't think so.
I do believe if you go into Asda, I don't need to because I've just done my shop, possibly not in Asda, and you have all the old players up there, and I think you have all the names.
Just them hung there on the
just
walls.
Just all the names of all the old players. I don't know how important that is to Asda shoppers.
No, it's a nice touch, though, isn't it? But like you say, I'd hope that at some point it retains its heritage and people still know that it's Burnden Park.
I know it's a bit early days, but it should still have some sort of plaque.
It should, yeah. Or
even a statue of the Lion of Vienna, maybe.
Do you know we talked about the signs last week when you come into Bolton. It says the home of Bolton Wanderers. There should be something here, just a sign that says the former home for 102 years of Bolton Wanderers Football Club. Just
a statue even here, you know, of something like Nat Lofthouse or something like that. Surely to God, I don't know.
Well, it took us long enough to get a statue at the Reebok Stadium, as it was, of Nat.
I think we might be ready to slip up the road. Talking of Nat Lofthouse, we might stop off somewhere else. No nourishment, I'm afraid. It's not a pub at the moment.
No,
we might just have a little 30 seconds in there. Not for those from Bolton, because you already know it. Those that are just watching this and thinking, what's Bolton about? Yeah.
It's a wonderful place. Great memories for a lot of fans. A lot of negativity around it from away fans. You know, it wasn't a great looking ground. It was very old school. But a lot of negativity from the away fans about how much of a bad place it was.
I think that's probably because it wasn't an easy place to come.
Well,
at the moment, I've got in mind another ground that is probably looking a bit shabby, which isn't an easy place to go, which is getting a lot of stick as well. We'll leave that there.
I wonder what you're talking about. It must be something like Everton or something like that.
No, they're getting a new ground. However,
I was listening to John McGinley, obviously Bolton Wanderers legend, talk about the changing rooms here. And what they used to do is, before the away team turned up, they'd throw buckets of cold water on the floor in the away dressing room. So when the players got in to get changed, the socks would get wet, it would be freezing, just that extra bit of intimidation.
Welcome to Bolton.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, which is why at the Reebok, or the Tough Sheet, the home dressing room is absolutely glorious, magnificent.
Yeah, it is. I've actually been in that one.
The away dressing room is just bog standard.
Oh, it really is.
No luxuries.
It's not even like a leisure centre.
No, it's not. No. Anyway.
Orange Leisure Centre.
Yes. Yeah. Well, quite literally.
The old one. Right. Well, thank you very much. We are now going to scamper up the road, aren't we?
Yes. What we'll probably do is stick this in one part, and then
I think so.
The next one in the other part. Otherwise, you'll be here for about 40 minutes. It'll be another Man City episode, won't it?
It was rather long. It
was a bit long. Yeah. It was
Sorry, Bob, but it was. Right. For now. Mike's going on holiday. Where are you going, Mike?
Well, I don't really want to advertise that because people might just go.
Why, you think you're that interested? Do you really think?
Jeez, it's just constant, isn't it?
Oh, no, but
it's just
I'm
constant.
not telling him
it's constant digging.
All right, just tell us a continent then.
Oh, Europe.
Right, coming a bit closer then, just a country. Don't have to give us a town. Right, okay.
Cyprus.
There you go. Listen, you're not big enough to get lost in Cyprus, you know what I mean?
I just don't know what to say to that.
Right, okay. Off we go. Next episode. I'm just going to rinse him in the car, I think. Comedic wise. Ta-ta.